Hey there, this is Eric with Black Swan Odysseys, and today we're going to do a ride up the historic Evergreen Highway, also known as Highway 14. Highway 14 parallels the Columbia River on the Washington state side of the river. We're going to ride today from Vancouver, Washington up to about Stevenson, Washington. And actually this is going to be a two-part video. The second section of the video is going to go from Stevenson, Washington up to the Stonehenge Memorial. This is up close to the Highway 97 interchange. That video will be for another day though. Anyway, stick around for this first part of the ride.
So Highway 14 was built in segments. From Vancouver to Washougal was probably one of the earliest roads, and that was actually a wagon road. This section of the highway is actually newer. Old Highway Evergreen is over here. It was a wagon road.
It was called the Evergreen Highway, and it started out nothing more than a simple horse trail. As things developed along the Columbia River, this horse trail grew into a wagon trail, eventually a gravel road, and finally a paved highway. The first segment past Washougal was laid out, surveyed, and built in 1905, and that was from Washougal, Washington to Lisle, Washington. The next segment was built in approximately 1907, and it extended from Lisle, Washington to Mary Hill. Highway 14 has a full length of approximately 182 miles, starting from the west side in Vancouver, and travels along the Columbia River all the way up to the I-82 interchange, close to the Idaho-Washington border.
We're going to make a couple stops along the way to kind of talk about things that are here. Over here to the side, to my right, is farmland, but it's also a major wetland and bird reserve down there. There's actually a dike that's built along there, and a bike path that runs along the top of the dike. It's about 5 miles long. And you even see the railroad tracks here competed. There's a set of railroad tracks here on the Washington side, and there's another set of railroad tracks on the Oregon side. And these two railroad companies competed each other too. Eventually this one stayed on the north side, running all up into Spokane, Lake Coeur d'Alene, Lewiston, that whole area up in there, Washington. Where the southern side, a lot harder to make a road up here because of the cliff.
The Gorge holds a federally protected status in the National Scenic Area and called the Columbia River Gorge Scenic Area, and is managed by the Columbia Gorge Commission and the U.S. Forest Service.
One thing notice about these houses, notice these dark colors. Any house that is, this one's grandfathered in, that's an old Grange Hall right there. But these houses here, any kind of work you do on them, you have to paint them blending colors. We're going to be pulling up to Cape Horn. The riverboat captains used to use it as a landmark as they're transiting the river. pretty spectacular. And there it is, Cape Horn. So the best times to ride this is probably during week. Here's the Cape Horn Trail, a parking lot. There's actually a trail that runs along here. It's a loop that goes through. Here's the parking lot. Prindle School. Not a school anymore, somebody's private home. There's actually a small community up there, but I'm not going to go up there today. It loops around. It comes back down this road here. So, this is Beacon Rock Park. This is the boat landing area. This is all new. I'll see if I can show you the original road if I can get up there. One of the state parks along here. See if I can, if it's blocked off. It might be closed still. That's the, if you look right across the road over there, that was a major burn that happened 2 years ago. Forest fire started by a kid playing with fireworks. Actually, he shot fireworks across Eagle Creek. And I don't know what he was thinking, but it caused a major forest fire. It's got a trail now. Kind of interesting. This was the original road. So these were camp spots here. Obviously you can't camp here anymore. Wow. This is crazy. So that's the boat dock right there. We used to go on as kids. Guess these are just day spots now. So that's not even the main channel of the Columbia.
Beacon Rock. According to geologists, it's an ancient volcano core. Beacon Rock is essentially a basalt plug. In Captain Clark's journals, he remarked this rock was approximately 800 feet tall and 400 yards round. His estimates were exceptionally close as to what they actually are. The rock was named Beacon Rock by Lewis and Clark. It was initially named Beaton Rock, but later it was changed to Beacon Rock.
There's a story there of that chimney.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers planned to dynamite and destroy the rock in the 1910-1915 time period. Henry J. Biddle purchased the rock in 1915 for $1, and during the next 3 years constructed a trail of 51 switchbacks and handrails and bridges. It was completed in 1918. In 1935, the park was willed to the state to become a state park. Let's talk about the Columbia River itself. The Columbia River is the largest river in the Pacific Northwest of the region of North America. It flows through British Columbia and the United States. The Columbia River has a full length of approximately 1,243 miles. It's the 7th largest river in North America.
It's all from forest fire. That's up that canyon right here. That's where the fire started. Right up in there. The other side of these wires. There's the Bonneville Dam. This here is the original dam, or the first one that was built. And then in the 60s, this one was built.
Today, the Columbia River has 14 dams on the entire river, 11 which I'll show on the map. The drainage basin covers all through Idaho, British Columbia, Oregon, Washington, and ultimately all of Montana and this up to the Continental Divide. In the watershed, there's 609 different species of fish. The Columbia River receives its water from 6 significant tributaries. The 4 largest that empty into the Columbia River directly are the Snake, the Willamette, the Kootenai River, and the Penderville River.
And then we'll take the back way into town from here. And here's the lodge.
Skamania Lodge is located near Stevenson, Washington. It's a 5-star hotel, and the room prices run anywhere from $250 to $600 a room. It also has just recently incorporated a treehouse stay. They're not truly tree houses built in a tree, but they're actually buildings built on stilts among the forest. One area that I wanted to visit but wasn't unable to because of COVID is the Columbia River Interpretive Center. It's currently closed, but I do recommend it if you get a chance. It's right next to the Skamania Lodge. It talks a lot about the history, the native history, logging history, and so forth. Quite a few exhibits in there, and it's a well done building.
So this is kind of like the back way into Stevenson. And here's beautiful downtown Stevenson. Pharmacy. Hi. Yeah, can I sit right there, maybe?
Anywhere.
Great, thank you.
No. Okay.